What's up, YouTube? It's your Huckleberry here, back with another video. So we're back with Nate, the lawyer's channel, and he's always throwing up some pretty interesting things. This time we're headed up to New York because we're going to get into Mamdani and all his greatness that he is and his policies, and now he's trying to jack up prices. Let's let Nate tell us what's going on. So without further ado, let's do it.
Remember when New York was paying out all that money for illegal aliens to stay in upscale hotel rooms?
The city is renting some 5,000 rooms at a swanky hotel just one block from Times Square with spectacular views of the iconic skyline. Rooms cost up to $700 per night. Oh, there's also a top-of-the-line fitness center on the third floor.
And remember when they were giving the illegals $500 to $600 a month for groceries?
Kind of fear, but a fear tinged with frustration, because when you hear about migrants receiving $53 million in prepaid credit cards, the Eric Adams administration in the mayor's office in New York City will tell you it's going to save about $600,000 a month. But that's not how poor people are looking at it. You know what black poor people are looking at it like? You know what Latinos who happen to be poor that arrived in this country are looking at it like? Where that money come from us?
But now that bill has come due, and the city is facing a $12 billion budget deficit.
I want to speak directly to New Yorkers who have for too long been misled and misinformed about the true state of our city's finances. I will be blunt. New York City is facing a serious fiscal crisis. There is a massive fiscal deficit in our city's budget to the tune of at least $12 billion.
So let me tell you how we got here.
This is going to be good.
All right, welcome to New York City, home to 8.5 million people, the largest city in the United States of America. Now, as you heard, New York is facing a $12 billion deficit. Now, it's a similar story to what we've already covered in Chicago. The mayor there spent $600 million on migrants, and now he wants to tax the poor citizens of Chicago to pay for that migrant help.
Brandon Johnson defending spending taxpayer dollars on maintaining a welcoming city while being interrogated by the House Oversight Committee in Washington today.
You're the mayor of Chicago. Do you think that your residents or the residents of your state should be paying for that more than they should be paying for their own needs, their own roads, their own public safety?
The people of Chicago elected me as the 57th mayor of the city of Chicago, and we serve all the residents of the city of Chicago.
But that service comes with a cost. According to data obtained by the ABC 7i team, since September of 2022, the city has paid out $638.7 million in vendor contracts for new arrivals.
Now, Brandon Johnson is a progressive Democrat in Chicago. And what did he do when he saw that there was a hole? He said, hey, he's going to raise tax. And that's what they did. They raised shopping bag taxes and Uber rides. And if you want booze or online gaming, they raised those taxes. And those taxes are going to disproportionately affect the poor people. People who are working paycheck to paycheck are going to have to pay more for shopping bags, for instance. And those poor black people in Chicago felt that they had been betrayed by their mayor and had buyer's remorse.
I'm standing here tonight with buyer's remorse because I supported Mayor Brandon Johnson. I feel like a fool right now. I feel like a plum fool. But I tell you what, it's okay. Because as I said last night, you can slap us in the face by ignoring us today, but we are punching you in the face by ignoring you at the polling places tomorrow.
Now, that's Chicago crying over $600 million. But then we moved to the city of New York, where the mayor at the time, Eric Adams, said that they were projecting a $12 billion budget deficit because of how much they spent on illegal aliens.
Finally, we need the federal government to lead a decompression strategy at the border so cities and states across the nation can do their part to shelter asylum seekers. Because cities like New York, Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, Houston, and El Paso cannot be left to shoulder a national crisis without the proper aid. Again, if we don't get the support we need, New Yorkers could be left with a $12 billion bill.
Now, to understand why we're $12 billion in a hole, I got to tell you about the sanctuary state of New York. I know. Every time I do one of these videos, I go through the whole story again. This is going to be a condensed version because I need someone who's watching this video for the first time, who's never watched one of my videos, to understand how we kind of got here. So for those of you who've watched these videos before, bear with me for like 2 or 3 minutes, right? So as you know, New York State is a sanctuary state. This means that they will not assist the federal government in deportations. Now, they had this policy of welcoming migrants or immigrants with open arms, right? Now, if you've watched one of these videos before, you've probably seen this clip of the New York State Governor Kathy Hochul, who's literally begging for migrants to come to the city, saying that they're welcome, we can take care of you, we're going to do all this great stuff to you. We're going to roll that clip because I want you to see how committed New York State was to having migrants come and being able to take care of migrants to grow their state. They were essentially the sanctuary state of sanctuary states.
People to come here, despite where they came from or despite the circumstances that drove them to this country and to this state, we say you are welcome here. You're welcome with open arms, and we'll work to keep you safe. We'll not only house you, but we'll protect you. And the richness of the culture and the diversity and the food and the restaurants that we know are going to be coming because of these efforts are beyond measure. It's just it's an extraordinary part of our story, and it's woven into the story of New York, and it makes us more vibrant.
Now, as we've also documented here on this channel many times, the advocates of the sanctuary state of New York also considered reasonable border policy to be racist and xenophobic. Their words, not mine. Now, when President Joe Biden got into office, the floodgates opened up, right? They were like, hey, we want to let as many people in as possible because we're pro-immigration. We want more immigrants. So Joe Biden did what the Democrats wanted him to do. They opened up the border. And you had millions, and I mean millions of people now crossing the southern border into the United States.
This family soon adding to what has become a record-breaking year of border crossings. In this fiscal year alone, Customs and Border Patrol have encountered more than 2 million migrants, breaking the record previously set last year. Most of those encounters, single men and family units.
Now, the problem with all this is that who's going to take care of these people? Like, you just heard it, 2 million people, right? 1.9, 2 million people. Who's going to take care of all those people? Because those people don't have jobs. They're not legally allowed to work. They're just kind of here in the United States. So that was the battle that we had going on. Now, the Trump administration kept everybody out, so you had immigration low. Where the Biden administration said, hey, we're going to bring them all in, right? We're going to bring them all in. 2 million people came across the border, as you saw. So this now made a quandary for states like Texas, because all those people were walking into Texas and Arizona, all those border states. So the governor of Texas said, well, let's do this. New York says we want immigrants. They'll protect them. They'll stop them from being deported. We have the money to pay for them. Let's start sending these migrants to places that want them.
Radical agenda until it inconveniences them. They want to defund the police until their city gets burned down. They want green energy, but don't ask them to give up their private planes and SUVs. And they totally support open borders and sanctuary cities until a surge of migrants come to their backyard. This was D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser in 2017.
I can't say it any more clearly of what it means for Washington, D.C. to be a sanctuary city.
But now that her city's flooded with migrants, she's begging for the National Guard.
We need the federal government to be involved. So I've asked for the deployment of the Guard, as long as we need the Guard to deal with the humanitarian crisis that we expect to escalate. The number.
Dude, they don't learn. They don't learn anything. This is so corrupt, guys. It's so messed up.
Number of people crossing the border seeking asylum, we expect to only go up.
But she's not the only one. New York Mayor Eric Adams is begging for federal help too, as hundreds of migrants have overwhelmed the city's homeless shelters. We spoke to a few of them last month.
You stay at the shelter last night?
I slept right here on the street. They told us there are more opportunities for work here, more stability, everything we see on TV. But I see that is not true.
You'd think they'd blame Joe Biden's broken border policies for their newfound humanitarian crises, but they're blaming Texas Governor Greg Abbott for busing migrants to their cities.
Well, he said two things. One is that it was a crisis, and the fact of the matter is I don't know of a larger crisis in our country right now. And this is a crisis caused by the Biden administration. Remember, 2 years ago, we had the lowest number of border crossings in decades. Today, we have the highest number of illegal crossings into the United States ever. If you show your viewers what is going on the Texas border, they will see that it's a crisis. Before we begin busing illegal immigrants up to New York, it was just Texas and Arizona that bore the brunt of all of the chaos and all the problems that come with it. Now the rest of America is understanding exactly what is going on.
And the governor of Texas was right. All these places started declaring states of emergency because they had to take care of the migrants that they begged for.
Governor Healy just declared a state of emergency in Massachusetts because of the number of migrants arriving in Massachusetts. Healy says they are overwhelming local shelters.
They're here because Massachusetts has and will always be a beacon of hope, compassion, humanity, and opportunity.
It even happened in Chicago. Here in Chicago, again, state of emergency. We're getting migrants. This is crazy.
Here in Chicago, Mayor Lightfoot just issued an emergency declaration in response to the surge of migrants being bused to the city by Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
And Casey Cronus is live from City Hall with the latest on this. Natalie and Anthony, at least 48 more migrants arrived to the city today, and Mayor Lori Lightfoot says she doesn't expect the buses to stop anytime soon. Just as that surge is expected, the city's 7 migrant shelters and 3 respite sites are now overrun. Since last August, the city has welcomed more than 8,000 migrants, but funding and resources are dwindling.
And obviously, since we're talking about New York, here's New York declaring a state of emergency. We got too many migrants.
The New York City Mayor Eric Adams declaring a state of emergency over the ever-escalating number of asylum seekers coming to the city. The mayor says the shelter system is overwhelmed and that after today, the city will set a new record for the highest number of people ever in the system.
Although our compassion is limitless, our resources are not.
So as you see, New York has a problem, and they made the problem even worse by recklessly spending this money. For instance, they put migrants up in $700 hotel rooms.
Some breaking news now. The Department of Homeland Security firing 4 FEMA employees after it was revealed they authorized $59 million in payments for luxury hotels in New York City to house migrants.
Flashback.
Welcome back. New video into Fox News of 5 more buses carrying migrants from Texas arriving in New York City earlier this morning. And we're learning more about where many are staying at taxpayer expense. The city is renting some 5,000 rooms at a swanky hotel just 1 block from Times Square with spectacular views of the iconic skyline. Rooms cost up to $700 per night.
Like, whose idea was that? How ridiculous is that? They got tons of hotels around. They could have, I mean, I get it. It's the hotels are all probably expensive, but like you're going to pick that swanky ass hotel to throw all these people in, and you could at least give them a job in the hotel. I mean, but I can't, it's even hard to comprehend how you're going to give all this money to people that can't even legally get a job to pay to, it's frustrating, especially when, you know, I live in a blue state in Oregon, and it's frustrating to see this kind of stuff when you're getting pushed out and people are just coming in getting all this free stuff. It's so frustrating.
Oh, there's also a top-of-the-line fitness center on the 3rd floor. Officials are keeping the cost of all of this under wraps.
Another celebrity, rapper 50 Cent, upset over a plan in New York City to spend $53 million by giving migrant families prepaid credit cards. The rapper...
Yeah, of course. 50 is one of those people he knows what's going on. He's smart. He's been talking about Puffy for how many years now? I mean, like, 50 knows what's up, dude. And I'm glad that he's on the right side of things because he's got a loud voice and a good platform. And he, you know, like, I hate when politicians and musicians and I hate it when celebrities and movie stars and musicians speak up, like at the Grammys, because they're so like disconnected. But 50 is actually one of those few people that's kind of grounded and knows what's going on.
Says it makes no sense. And guess what? It might even motivate him to vote for Donald Trump.
Now, the thing that makes this even worse is that when they told the migrants to leave the $600 a night hotel rooms, the migrants refused.
Tonight, Mayor Adams getting pushback from some asylum seekers who are being told to move out of their West Side hotel and into a new facility in Brooklyn.
This is a live look right now at the Watson Hotel on West 57th Street, where some people are still refusing to leave. CBS 2's political reporter Marcia Kramer says the mayor wants to use the hotel for families. Marcia.
Well, Jessica and Maurice, it's a problem city officials apparently didn't see coming. Asylum seekers who got used to the privacy of living in a hotel room don't want to move to a congregate shelter where...
Yeah, why would you want to move out of the best possible scenario? You're getting free shit at the best location. You got awesome views, free food. You got all this stuff. Who would want to leave that? So of course. And then what are you going to do? Make them leave the country? You're going to deport them? When there's open borders, they'll just come right back. Repeat, rinse, and repeat, right? I mean, come on. Who can't predict this is going to happen? Do you think everybody's going to be like, okay, our 2 weeks is up in Swankville. Let's go over to, like, Ghettoville now. And let's,
Everyone sleeps packed like sardines in a room with 1,000 cots.
So now, as you...
Yeah, but what were they doing where they came from? The same fucking thing. Except for they weren't getting free shit.
See, the city was spending money willy-nilly, and that money added up. And eventually, Mayor Adams hit the city with the reality of how much they were spending. $12 billion on the migrant crisis.
Finally, we need the federal government to lead a decompression strategy at the border so cities and states across the nation can do their part to shelter asylum seekers. Because cities like New York, Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, Houston, and El Paso cannot be left to shoulder a national crisis without the proper aid.
Sleeps packed like sardines in a room with 1,000 cots.
So now, as you see, the city was spending money willy-nilly, and that money added up. And eventually, Mayor Adams hit the city with the reality of how much they were spending. $12 billion on the migrant crisis.
Finally, we need the federal government to lead a decompression strategy at the border so cities and states across the nation can do their part to shelter asylum seekers. Because cities like New York, Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, Houston, and El Paso cannot be left to shoulder a national crisis without the proper aid. Again, if we don't get the support we need, New Yorkers could be left with a $12 billion bill.
Now, we'll fast forward. Mayor Adams lost the election, was kicked out for Zohran Mamdani, and Zohran comes in and says, hey, we got a $12 billion.
Now I understand why Mamdani won. Can't they have somebody with some kind of sense run? You just replaced ignorance with evilness. Bad to worse? That's why I crossed my New York vacation off the list. We ain't going to that hellhole, man.
$1 billion budget deficit for taking care of migrants. We need to tax the people so we can pay for the illegal migrants that we put up in $600 hotel rooms. Here's what he said.
Bro, if I lived in New York, I'm done, I'm gone. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Think about how far your money would go in probably almost any other state but California. Or Minnesota. Think about it. Like, get out of there, people. Get out of there.
Mayor Mamdani sounds the alarm about a massive $12 billion budget deficit and calls to tax the rich to close the gap.
I will be blunt. New York City is facing a serious fiscal crisis. We did not arrive at this place by accident. This crisis has a name and a chief architect. In the words of the Jackson 5, it's as easy as ABC.
4 weeks after he was sworn in, Mayor Mamdani gets down to the nitty-gritty, a deficit of $2 billion.
That motherfucker tried to quote the Jackson 5. Is that how you're going to try to appeal to the masses, dude? What would Tito say? Come on.
Appeared in the weeks of his predecessor's final term, and now $10 billion swarming the upcoming budget. So how to pay for it? The mayor says higher taxes for anyone making more than $1 million a year, but What's the definition of a millionaire in New York City when the cost of some studio apartments here is $1 million?
So the new socialist mayor is clear. He's going to tax his way out of this. Here is what he's proposing.
Let's break this all down. Mamdani says his main focus is to balance the budget, and it's through savings and efficiencies. He pointed to a, quote, unusable AI chatbot that cost the city $500,000. He says slashing that's going to help, but it's not going to be enough. Mamdani's goal is also to get some more money from the state. He says that there is an $8 billion a year difference between what the city provides in revenue to the state and what the state gives back to the city. But the biggest piece of the puzzle, raising taxes. Mamdani wants to raise the corporate tax to 11.5%, and that would match New Jersey's rate. His plan is also to tax any household that makes over $1 million, an additional 2%. Now, this really doesn't come as a surprise. This is what he ran on. However, Governor Kathy Hochul has repeatedly said that she's against raising taxes. So this is what Mamdani said in response to someone asking.
Hochul's the idiot that told everybody to come on in. Come on in. Like she's part of the Adams camp. Oh my God. Of course she's going to say that. But what he's doing is just... And then they're going to want Trump to get him out of this. And he can't. You can't do it. You got to let them deal with their own problem. Let their communist, socialist mayor, like... do his thing. You can't let the federal government better not buy them out, dude. Better not give them a penny for being a sanctuary state.
Asking about that today.
We've been very open and honest with the governor and the governor's team, as well as with legislative leaders, as to the scale of this crisis and the need for us to respond to it in a manner that addresses the enormity of it. That will require increased revenue. It will require a new relationship with the state.
So as you just heard, the mayor needs the governor to raise taxes. But the governor, her name is Kathy Hochul, decided she will not raise taxes, period.
We're not raising taxes in the state of New York. I'm not raising taxes for the sake of raising taxes. So he'll continue to say what he needs to say. I'll continue to say what I want to say. And you can report it any way you want.
But Mamdani believes he can persuade the governor and lawmakers.
As he has described it, a democratic socialist agenda. Free childcare, free buses, rent freeze. The list goes on. I talked to him on Monday night. He said to me he hasn't wavered 1 millimeter on raising taxes on New York City's wealthiest residents to pay for some of that. Now, Governor, you have said repeatedly that you would not raise taxes. You said, quote, I've said there's no new income taxes. Do you stand by that promise?
Yes.
So we're at the end of the video. In Chicago, they decided to tax everyone to pay for the migrants. And the mayor in Chicago seems to be on his way out because no one wants their taxes raised, especially to pay for illegal immigrants they didn't have to pay for. And now in New York, they're going through the same thing. The governor is like, yo, I'm not raising taxes to pay for your problem. You wanted the migrants, you got to pay for the migrants. Now you guys got to think about the total irony here. These people in New York and Chicago are saying, you're racist if you don't let these migrants in. You're racist if you don't pay all the money to support them. And that's exactly what happened. The people in Texas and Arizona said, okay, we're sending the migrants to you so you can pay the money to take care of them, so you can have that compassion. And now that bill has come due. And guess what? No one wants to pay for it. What a shocker.
All right, guys. Another video where Nate's bringing us all this information, laying it down for us. He's trying to illustrate how ridiculous and how they brought this problem to themselves. And it's a real shame, it's a travesty, but they caused this and they got a lie in it. They don't need to raise the taxes on the people there that are making money for the sake of the people that they invited to come in that can't and won't make money. So it's really a ridiculous that situation they got going on. Anyway, guys, give me a like down below. I would appreciate it. I'm your Huckleberry. You can call me Huck. I hope to see you next time. You're a daisy if you do. Peace.